Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday morning. It's a gorgeous sunny day here in Port Coquitlam. I'm on for my regular Wednesday morning Facebook Live. This morning I am going to be making a card with you using a bit of a fancy fold and showcasing the Petal palette suite. It's no longer a suite in our catalog, but it was a few years ago. And all these products are still currently available until June. At which point in time they're going to be retiring, which kind of makes me sad because this has been such a beautiful set to use, a great one for making Mother's Day cards. And so that's exactly what I'm going to be doing today. So I'll just quickly show you the suite. So it's actually a double package for the stamps. We've got all these gorgeous images that have a really nice watercolor look to them. You can choose to color them in or not. You can use blender pens, blends, watercolors, pencil crayons, you name it. And then all of the wonderful sentiments. And then, of course, these little polka dots, which I have used so much on so many different cards. So the stamp set itself is quite an amazing stamp set. And then to go with it, there are these two embossing folders. I'm not sure if you can see that there. This one's got like a floral pattern on it, and then this one has the vines in the background. And so these actually come together as a set. And then finally, there are the dies, the petals and more thinlit dies. And as you can see, I've put mine onto magnets to make it a little bit easier to keep them stored. But they are just gorgeous. There's a little bit of a fancy label, some more vines, some beautiful flowers, and then some of the framelits that coordinate with the stamp set. So it makes it easy to cut out the flower, the bird, the little bunch of flowers here, and the large bunch of roses. So the framelits are really nice, and then all the really beautiful coordinating shapes that go with that. So the whole bundle together is really a nice package and can make some really beautiful cards. This morning we're going to be using all three of these products actually to make a card. Now the card we're making today, I have left my base somewhere, just a moment. The card we're making today, I know does have a fancy name, but I'm not really sure what it is. What I've done is I've scored this card stock just like a regular card base. So we've got an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock scored at 4 1/4 to make a regular card. But then I scored it at 2 1/8 to create this fold back. And so now when our card stands, it's going to stand with a little bit more dimension even than normal because it's going to stand in kind of like a Z pattern and have this front piece really pop out. All right, so that is our card base that we're going to be working on. And let's see if I can find my bone folder. There it is. I'm just going to use that to really fold this down so that we have a better space for working. And fold that one down as well. So our card's going to lay just a little more flat while we're working on it, which will make it a bit easier. There we go. All right, so we're going to get started actually with stamping the inside of our card. Don't normally stamp the inside first, but today I think that's going to be the best option. So I'm going to grab this beautiful polka dot strip. And you can see that mine was a little bit tricky to get out of my case because what I've actually done, this is one of the old style stamps that didn't cling very well. They were just the clear stamps. And I've actually taken some extra cling off of some of my newer stamp sets and attached it. So now I am packed up right now for a card class coming up this week. So most of my blocks are away. So I'm actually going to just use the back of my block that I normally use for stamping my name. And I'm going to grab powder pink. So I am working in a retired color today as well. Well, not retired yet, but retiring color. Our 2017 to 2019 in colors will be retiring on June 3rd. And so I'm just getting a little bit more use out of my powder pink here. So I've just stamped that and I'm going to come in here and stamp those polka dots along the inside of my card. And so the reason I'm doing that on the inside is because when this stands open, we are going to be able to see those. So I'm actually going to double up the layers on that. Do a second layer of stamping there so that it takes up a bit more of the inside of our card. There we go. So that is going to be somewhat visible when our card is standing on somebody's shelf and they have it on display. So that is all I'm going to use my powder pink for at the moment. Put that away. We will be grabbing that again though. And because I'm going to need this block for other things, I'm going to clean this off right now. So I'm just using my Simply Chamois here to clean this stamp quickly. It is such a dream to be able to work with just water, no chemicals, and get these clean instantly. So there we go. And the sentiment I'm going to use today, although there are many beautiful ones in this kit, and I did think about using the thank you, I actually do need another Mother's Day card. So I am actually going to use Happy Mother's Day, and I'm going to stamp that in Fresh Fig. The powder pink and Fresh Fig just go so well together. So grab that. And this Happy Mother's Day statement that I am using is actually from this month's Paper Pumpkin. I don't know if you caught my Paper Pumpkin video on the long weekend, but this Paper Pumpkin this month was absolutely gorgeous. They do have refills available. It does not include the stamp set, but all the paper bits that came with it. So if you did already grab yourself a Paper Pumpkin and are wanting some refills, those are now available. You can use my hostess code and go online and place your order for those, or just send me a message and I'll put some onto my next order. All right, so that is really the inside of our card. We're going to leave a little bit of space here to be able to write a little message. And we're going to get started decorating what's now going to be the front of our card. So I've got a piece of powder pink right here, and I have cut it. So we folded this at 2 1/8. So I've cut this at just at 1 7/8, and then by 5 3 3/8. So just below 5 1/2. So I'm going to run this through my Big Shot, and I'm going to be using that embossing folder that I showed you, that I put down. Now, there we go. So I'm going to be using the Vines embossing folder. And what I love about this is it just embosses tiny little bits. So we've got this little scrap, or you could just do this on the edge of a card, and we're going to be able to emboss that. So I'm just going to run that through my Big Shot. There we go. So for those of you who haven't heard, our Big Shot is no longer going to be available in the new catalog. Stampin' Up! Is going to be moving on to a new device. They haven't released to us yet what that new device is going to be, but they have let us know that it will still work with all of our regular dies and embossing folders, so that's very nice. So they will continue to provide those materials within the catalog. They're just not going to be carrying the Big Shot anymore. If you do not have a Big Shot yet, now is a great time to grab one before, they're not available in the catalog, and we're in limbo for a little while without a die cut or embossing machine, and knowing that whatever Stampin' Up! Does decide to come out with is still going to be compatible with the Big Shot and all the tools that came with the Big Shot. So I would definitely think about grabbing one of those if you don't already have some way of doing the dry embossing and the die cutting. So what I've done here is I've taken some tear and tape, and I've put that on the back. I tend to use tear and tape when I'm trying to adhere things that I've embossed, just because the embossing makes it a little bit difficult to stick it on sometimes and have it really stay. So now it does make it a bit trickier for lining this up. I'm going to really be sure of my placement before I really let it touch the page. Because once it's there, it is possible to remove it, but it's quite challenging. Okay, so there we go. We have that attached to this partial fold in our card now. And I'm going to do some stamping of my little birdie. So somewhere around here I have a piece of white paper cut. There we go. My office is just a little bit of a mess right now. I'm getting ready for a teenage girl's birthday party this weekend, and then my customer appreciation event on Sunday, where we're going to be doing some card making, some bingo, and taking a look at the new catalog. There we go. So I've just taken the bird and stamped the bird in basic black. And I can put that aside now. I'm going to go cut him out now with a stitched shape circle. So I've got my stitched shape dies here. They've got the circles and the ovals and the squares. And so I've taken the second smallest circle rather, and I'm going to go cut this bird out. So just give me a moment while I do that. Alright, so we have our bird cut out using that stitched shape, and now I'm going to use my 2-inch punch, and I'm going to punch a circle out of the powder pink. And that 2-inch circle layers perfectly with our stitched shape that we have. So there we go. So I'm going to use, this one doesn't have to be too strong, so I'm going to grab my snail and just use a little bit of snail to attach that. All right, so that is done. Now I'm going to add a little bit of color to my bird as well, and I think I'm going to do that using the blends. So I don't actually have powder pink in a blend, so let's just see how close Flirty Flamingo is. That's actually not bad. So this is the light Flirty Flamingo, and I'm going to come in here and just do the belly of my bird. All right, and then to blend it just a little bit around that neckline, just so it's not such a solid stop when we get there, I'm just going to take my color lifter and go in a little bit, and that just softens it up a little bit where it reached that neckline. All right, so we've got just a tiny bit of color on there, and this is going to attach in this spot only on the folded sides though, so that our card can still open. Okay, before I do that, I'm going to add a few more kind of little embellishment pieces. I absolutely love the dies that come with the Petal palette, the Petals and More thinlits that coordinate. And so what I'm actually going to do is take this beautiful branch, and I'm going to cut that out using some silver foil paper. So we've got our silver foil paper here from the main catalog, and I'm just going to go cut out one of these stems. So I've got that one cut out now. I'm going to gently remove it from the main piece of foil. And then to help, oops, it's stuck in one spot. To help with the removal of the rest of this, like all the little bits and everything, I'm actually going to use my die brush. And so I have my foam that comes with my die brush kept in one of the larger DVD cases. I'm sure you've seen me recently talking about all the uses I have for the smaller DVD cases. Well, this is my use for the larger one. And I'm just going to run my die brush over this, and it's going to help pop out all those little bits on the inside. And when I flip this over, I can see where I've missed a few spots, so I'm just going to go back over those. I do find that this is easier to do with the paper still kind of stuck in the die. Just kind of holds it a bit more firmly, so I still got that one in the middle. Now, this tool is also going to be retiring. They have come out with an alternative that is going to be a brush head that attaches to the Take Your Pick tool. So if you don't yet have your Take a Pick tool, it's going to be a good one to grab in the near future, because it's going to be the tool that allows you to use like some kind of head like this to be able to pop these out of the dies. All right, so not bad. I still have that one piece to grab, but pull this right out. There we go. And put my foam away, and the foam will come with it when you buy the head that goes with the Take Your Pick tool. So you can either, if you're like me and like having a separate tool and not having to change the heads, you want to grab one of these now before they're gone. And if you don't mind having that all-in-one tool and having to change the heads out, so it would just be your Take a Pick tool, and on one end you just twist this out, put in the roller head, and away you go. So just like that. All right, now I've got my silver embellishment here, and I am going to attach it so that it is just hanging off a little bit. And to do that, I'm going to grab my green glue, and there's two ends on this green glue. There's the end I normally use for putting glue on the backs of papers, and then there's this kind of fine tip end, and I'm just going to come through and put just a tiny little sliver of glue in some key spots. I don't actually need too much, and I definitely don't want to go out on this one edge that I know is going to be hanging off of my main card base. Okay, so I'm going to attach that, and fairly high up. Excellent. So that's attached. Now I'm going to get some thread. This is our pink and silver baker's twine that I'm using. This is another product. Today is just filled with all my favorite products that are retiring. So this is another retiring product. They're retiring the silver, the pool party, and the pink and silver baker's twine. So I have definitely stocked up already on the white and silver baker's twine, because I use that on pretty much everything. And I've grabbed an extra of the other two as well, because I find it so nice to have that little bit of color with the silver kind of in there as well. So with this piece, you can see I've made just like a little lasso, and what I'm going to do is kind of pinch this together. I'm going to grab, for this one, I would normally use a glue dot, but because I'm using so much of this and I really want it to stay in place, I'm actually going to grab a piece of tear and tape and put it across here and peel that off. And now with my crisscross like that, I'm actually going to just pop that down so that those little bits stay in place. There we go. And so they're being held in place on this back side with that piece of tear and tape. And now my final job here is I'm going to grab the some dimensionals to put on the back of this. And let's see, I don't want them really getting stuck in that thread, so I'm going to do kind of top and bottom right there. They will stick to the thread, but then it'll kind of create a little bit of a lopsided thing, and I'm just really trying to lift this up so that it's above the threads. And again, trying to avoid putting anything over on this side because I don't want this ending up sticking to the back of my card. All right. So that's there. We've got a little bit of thread happening from behind. Now I feel like we're still just missing a little something right here. So let's take a look at our stamp set. And I'm thinking maybe adding maybe a few stamped flowers in the corner here and a stamped flower there that we're going to be able to pop out. And so I'm going to grab this. And again, I've put a little bit of excess cling from one of my newer stamp sets onto the back of this so that it really stays in place. So I'm going to have to get another block. Oh, let's see here. I can actually clean up this Happy Mother's Day and put that back in my paper pumpkin so I don't lose that. There we go. So I don't have to clean up my bird just yet. Good, because I wanted to use that bird on our envelope to decorate our envelope today as well. Now I'm thinking that we can do some stamped off fresh fig flowers and that's going to be a nice little accent instead of having them get lost if we use some powder pink. So here we go. I just grabbed a few scraps from off of my cutting table, and so I'm going to ink that in fresh fig, but then I'm going to stamp it off and then stamp it. So it's going to create a much softer look and a nice complement to kind of bind the powder pink and the fresh fig together. So probably 3 of those. Well, we'll make 3. We'll see if we need all 3. And then I'm also going to do some stamping up in the corner here. So like that. This is where I always worry I'm going to forget to stamp off before I stamp on the main card. All right. So we've got these stamped. Now we can cut those out. You can fussy cut them, or you can use the framelit that came with the die kit. And so that's what I'm going to do because it's just a little bit faster. Well, assuming you can find them. I put them down on my desk. And, oh, I'm staring right at them. All right, here we go. So I've got this little framelit. We just line this up around our flower and run it through our big shot to get that cut out. So I'm going to do that quickly. There's one done, and I'm actually going to do 2. I like the idea of having 5 flowers on our card. So I'm going to run 2 of these through to go with the 3 that I've already stamped on the card. All right, sorry for that little delay. So I'm not going to need those scraps today. And I think we're going to just put 2 down here. It's going to create just a little something so our bird doesn't seem like he's just floating. And that's going to be great. So I am going to use glue dots to attach these. So grab a glue dot there. And I'm attaching these to the little circle that our bird is on. There we go. They can even overlap just a little bit. And so that's creating a nice balance with the 3 up here and the 2 down here. Now, our very final touch is yet again another retiring product. I'm really not sure what I'm going to do. And I'm grabbing the Share What You Love Artisan Pearls. These will no longer be in our catalog either. And I'm going to grab the lighter pink that's in here and use these as the centers of my flowers that I've just stamped. There we go. Oh, that one doesn't want to get picked up today there. All right. And a few up here. I'm so happy with how this Mother's Day card has turned out. I am very excited. Noah said to me, "Oh, Leah, you got to make one for my mom too," because I think last week I made a Mother's Day card using the paper pumpkin for my mom. And he's like, what about Rose? What about my mom?" So I think she's going to love these colors and the little bird. So those were our artisan pearls, and I think that was the perfect finishing touch to this card. So the last thing to do is always decorating the envelope. I cannot stand sending a card in an envelope that hasn't been decorated. I was thinking about using the bird on the envelope, but I think actually I'm going to go with just the flowers here. So again, I'm going to stamp them off so that we get that really nice soft look to them. And just put 3 here in the corner. There we go. And I think I'm not going to put pearls on the outside of my envelope, but I think I am going to grab my blends and color in the center though, just to give it a little definition. There we go. So that is my envelope decorated as well. I hope you enjoyed that card and the cute little fold that we've got here going on with that. All of these products are retiring on June 3rd, so if you love them, make sure you grab them. If you already have part of this set, make sure you grab the rest of it so that you can continue to create beautiful projects throughout the year. All right, take care, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.